The second annual meeting of the longevity enthusiasts with a dreamy title, Eudemonia, was held last weekend in West Palm Beach, Florida. 3 full days, 8,000 people, 165 speakers, an exhibit hall with 67 vendors. The overarching goal of this community is definitely worthwhile: to live a longer life, longevity, and have a healthier lifespan. I attended with a few goals of my own. Number one, to get a crash course in wellness, a $7 billion global industry. Number two, to hear key voices. And number three, to understand how wellness is the same or different from evidence-based medicine. In other words, this conference is getting to the same order of magnitude as a medical conference. Those are typically 10 to 20,000 attendees. How is this conference different? Well, for one, I have been to many medical conferences and not once heard the concept of snake oil. Here, it's part of the conference mission. It's on people's minds. At a plenary session in a large auditorium, Tyler Wackstein, Eudemonia's head of partnerships, said, Eudemonia, at its core, is the source of truth. It's the place to discover what's real and what's not, what is science and what is snake oil. Eudemonia's description echoes this sentiment, also quite different from a medical conference. I have not heard anyone reaffirm that they believe in science. That usually goes without saying. And here's Eudemonia's mission. Our lineup includes leading MDs specializing in gut health, brain chemistry, and cancer detection, alongside renowned nutritionists and groundbreaking entrepreneurs at the forefront of scientific advancements. Our experts represent the frontline practitioners, lauded researchers, trusted clinicians, and compelling storytellers who have spent their lives sharpening the scientific underpinnings of what it takes to be, feel, and stay well. These are folks who believe in science, who believe in the freedom of ideas, and who are willing to talk with people who see things differently. Our mission is to cut through the noise of fads and misinformation. We're here to clear out the snake oil and get to the heart of what empowers you to take charge of your health. The other difference is that credibility and status in this community is measured not in terms of basic or clinical research publications. It's measured in two things: how many millions of social media followers you have, and how many New York Times bestsellers. A faculty position in a well-known institution like Harvard, Columbia, Stanford, Cleveland Clinic is common and is an added bonus. There were many such celebrity doctors and influencers. Andrew Huberman, the Stanford neuroscientist whose podcast has about 15 million subscribers. Halle Berry, an actress and a women's health advocate with about 10 million followers. Gabby Bernstein, a world-renowned spiritual leader and best-selling self-help author. Arthur C. Brooks, professor at both Harvard Kennedy School and the Harvard Business School, who has written many books about happiness, including one with his close friend Oprah Winfrey, and many others were there as well. But it was clear the star of the show and the lead organizer was Mark Hyman. He is the founder of the Cleveland Clinic Functional Medicine Center and multiple #1 New York Times best-selling author. I've heard numbers from 11 to 15 books. I have not had a chance to check. He is the CEO and founder of Function Health, a company that offers a panel of hundreds of blood tests and even full body scans for its customers for a few $100s per year. Based on that, it calculates your biological age and recommends personalized foods and supplements, all without ever seeing a doctor. I joined a few months ago. My biological age is a few years less than my chronological age. All right. More on this in a future episode. What about the rest of the 165 presenters? Some interesting titles I noticed. Among them were Master Educator, Harvard Psychiatrist, Gut Health Expert, Breathwork Facilitator, Aerial Somatics and Recovery Expert, and Neurosomatic Coach. I spent most of my time in the exhibit hall visiting the vendors and interviewing them. There are two themes I noticed. two deviations from the evidence-based medicine principles. One is the complete lack of safety information, i.e. side effects. Here are three companies I talked to, selected at random. Two of them have a whole line of supplements. One has over 100 different products, and they say that none of them have any side effects whatsoever. To me, this just shows that they haven't looked. And how I know is a third company that makes a device that does what's called TVNS, transcutaneous vagus nerve stimulation. This technique so far has not had much success, unlike the implanted vagus nerve stimulation devices. But this company claims they have succeeded with the transcutaneous approach in dozens of diseases. They had some devices on display, and I tried one. While I had it on, I was interviewing the company representative, and just as I was getting dizzy, he informed me that they have not observed any side effects at all. Let's watch.
So we're a supplement company that specializes in liposomal delivery. We specialize a lot in detox, longevity, we have women's hormones, we have CBD, we have select sleep products, so big variety. And then recently we just launched peptides. So that's our hottest item right now.
So overall, how many products overall do you have?
I lost count.
Oh, okay.
we have several, over 100 for sure.
In terms of the side effects with your formulations, are you seeing side effects?
No, as long as they're taken the way that they're supposed to be. We have a product release that puts more stem cells in circulation naturally, elevating the number of stem cells to help repair and renew your body every day. And then we have one that supports the mobilization of stem cells through the fine vasculature, and then one that helps reduce systemic inflammation. So the signaling of stem cells will be being heard throughout the body, so stem cells can navigate where they need to go. So it's just overall stem cell support, natural daily stem cell support. So the main product is just the blend of the most powerful stem cell mobilizers.
That's incredible. And any side effects that you tell people to sort of look out for?
Yes, you have to be really careful because you might have great skin afterwards.
Great
the skin, great skin. Great skin is
that's a problem.
Be
Magnets for
careful.
people.
The skin consumes the most number of stem cells, the largest organ of the body. So we say, be careful. You might start radiating beautifully afterwards, or have a little bit of extra happiness because there are molecules that support happiness, but there's no detrimental side effects.
This is a vagus nerve stimulator, right? Neurofog. And it goes on the ear?
The tragus.
The tragus.
Yep. So the demo is just going to be for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Generally, a session is recommended for 15 to 20 minutes. Our clinical trials, we've done over 50 clinical trials.
Okay, like a little warm
Yes. Yep.
kind of. Okay, so more?
Maybe 1 or 2 levels more.
Okay. Oh yeah, tingling now. Yes, feel the tingling.
No pain, right?
Okay, so a little bit more?
I would do maybe 1 more.
Okay.
That feels okay?
Let's do 2 more. Okay, 20. You said most people are 20.
Around 20 to 25.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great.
That feels okay?
Yes.
Great. So
So I can start, right?
yes.
No,
Yep.
or
You're
is it
already
already Oh, it's already going.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Okay. And if you want to take a seat and relax.
Can I ask you all of the various conditions? This is really an impressive list here.
Yeah.
And these are all the results of the trial.
So everything that you see here, I think the most notable one is that there's an 80% decrease in inflammation.
That's incredible. And are you seeing any, other than the tingling, are there any side effects that people should be aware of?
Through all of our studies, we haven't had any negative side effects. There have been no recorded incidences or anything like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So at this point, if somebody in the US wants to try this, how can they get a hold of a device like that?
Yeah. So you can order online. So I do think it is really important for people struggling with depression, anxiety, atrial fibrillation to do anything they can to make themselves healthier.
And does this require a doctor oversight?
Yeah. Where in the United States it's not medically certified yet, it doesn't require a doctor's note or prescription.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
And it was great, actually. Felt great. I'm a little, just a touch dizzy, but it's okay. And the other big deviation from evidence-based medicine is the overemphasis on mechanism. Here I will be definitive. Mechanism, or how something works, is not evidence that it
actually works. Yet the mechanism is a favorite topic of discussion between patients and providers. At Eviva Partners, we have done surveys. If you ask people, have you discussed how a medication works with your doctor? 80% of the people will say yes. Have you discussed whether it actually works? What percent of the patients are helped? When to expect results? What are the side effects? Only 30%. Why is mechanism not evidence? Well, think about your phone. Do you understand how it works? I certainly don't. Or your dishwasher. Where do all the scraps go? I still have no idea. Well, in those cases, at least the engineers who built those devices understand how they work. But did you know that we still don't understand how the bicycle works? The formulas became too complicated for physicists, so they just let them be. So here are examples of things that we have no idea how they work, but we know they work and we use them every day. On the flip side, we have the whole era of perpetual motion machines, perpetuum mobile in Latin. And there were hundreds or perhaps even thousands of patents that were filed for these devices as an infinite working machine. And these patents explain exactly how the machine works, its mechanism. In fact, to obtain a patent, you don't have to prove generally that your device works, except for the perpetual motion machines, because the patent offices just got flooded. And of course, we know it is impossible to build a perpetual motion machine because of the laws of thermodynamics and the loss of energy to heat. And since the Eudemonia organizers have this goal to identify snake oil, I will offer one telltale sign, a lot of talk about mechanism. In medical conferences, when you present a clinical trial, you have one slide on mechanism and then you move on to does it actually work part. Imagine if a presenter had a bunch of slides on the mechanism. It's an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, or pro-oxidant, antibacterial, antifungal, etc. Safety was excellent, no side effects identified. In conclusion, we have a great new treatment. Any questions? Here are a couple of mechanism-heavy conversations I had.
We're a company out of Seattle, Washington, and the NanoV device helps the proteins in the body function. It does that by helping them fold, and that last step they have to do before they're functional proteins. And so we are helping that process by influencing the cellular water. And it's the water around the proteins where the protein draws the energy to go from a chain of amino acids into a complex folded shape. And it needs energy for that. So it gets the energy from the water, and we just augment the water to give more of the ordered state that's needed to support the protein folding.
So with the device that I'm seeing here in the blue, the mysterious blue container, is that the energized water then?
That is just distilled water.
Okay.
And we're creating humidity, which is why it's bubbling. And it's the humidity that's influenced by the excitation units inside the device. So the blue is decorative, and you could change the color if you wanted to.
Okay. So the secret sauce is in the device that creates excitation.
Who's really using their brain or their body or both a lot will use it for faster recovery and better performance.
So Igniton is a quantum wellness company focused on using quantum energy to supercharge the ingredients and supplements to make them work better than the same ingredients that are not charged with Ignitons. And we've been able to prove that in university studies published in peer-reviewed journals.
That's incredible.
But we just launched a soft launch in May at Dave Asprey's biohacking event. It went so well that he invested in the company. And then we did an official launch in September.
Okay, congratulations. So this is available for people.
So anybody that's really into biohacking is definitely going to be interested in our product. Anybody that's maybe 35 plus and thinking about getting a preemptive effort going on anti-aging or healthy aging and memory and cognition, definitely are interested in our product. We like to say it's really what it is it's an energetic enhancement.
Okay.
So we're not changing anything with regards to the molecules that are involved. We're just enhancing their effectiveness by attaching the quantum energy to the hydrogen proton associated with each one of the supplement ingredients.
That's amazing. And are there any side effects that you tell people to look out for?
Another good question. We don't really have any. There are some people that are very sensitive to energies. We do recommend maybe starting with 1 capsule per day, because our recommended dose is just 2 capsules per day. But we have had some feedback that's very powerful. This energetic charge really amplifies the impact quite powerfully. And for people that are very sensitive to energies, they can feel it in a way that's maybe they can't turn their brain off. So we have seen certain people that we recommend, hey, go back to just take 1 capsule per day and see how your body responds to that.
How does that actually manifest, not being able to turn your brain off? Like trouble sleeping, or what does it?
Well, that's one aspect of it. So we also recommend that you take the cognition product in the morning so that you don't get into that trouble sleeping aspect. A lot of people just say it's also just, it's too intense, right? When they're sensitive.
Okay.
And it's hard to diagnose. I mean, if really it comes down to the individual. If you're sensitive to energies or not. If you are, maybe start with 1. If energies are not necessarily that sensitivity to you, then 2 is going to be okay.
And the biggest influencers are particularly guilty of this mechanism talk, I might call it.
And the brain is an extraordinary system. It's a network that's regulated by many, many different neurotransmitters and receptors that regulate all of our thinking, feeling, emoting. And what's fascinating about psychedelics, so the biology is quite interesting. It floods your brain with serotonin, which makes you feel good. It increases the neuroplasticity of the brain. And it also increases something called glial-derived neurotrophic factor, which is another molecule in your body that increases all the connectivity in your brain. I don't know if any of you read my podcast with Chris Palmer, who's a Harvard psychiatrist, talking about metabolic psychiatry and systems thinking and network medicine and getting to the root causes of mental health issues. The neurobiology of our current lifestyle is making many of us have dysregulated brains, which is what we eat, right? Which is a massively inflammatory diet, high sugar, ultra processed food. It's environmental toxins that create inflammation. And so if your brain's physically not working, if you're mercury poisoned, your thyroid's not working, or you're B12 deficient, or your microbiome is a mess, or you're secreting all kinds of inflammatory molecules, it's very hard to be enlightened. You can do a lot of MDMA, you can do 40 years of meditation, but if all that stuff's not working, it's a lot harder.
It's sort of the distribution of energy, which is really what mitochondria are about, or the potential to create energy that is different in different neural circuits. And I do think that if you look at children at an age before they're self-conscious, they are forging the world in a way that tells you a little bit about each child's unique proclivity for certain things. But I do think that the distribution of mitochondria is something that to some extent is genetically endowed. It is certainly impacted during pregnancy. It's certainly impacted by the microbiome and all the things that we hear about all the time. But that has a strong role in human potential.
One last key aspect that I found strikingly different from evidence-based medicine: there are no things that don't work. Whole categories, yes. Medications, no good. But supplements, all good. Hormone replacement therapy, good. Psychedelics, great. But Maya Shankar, an author and a podcast host, in a conversation with Andrew Huberman, really nailed it. Are there any supplements that are no good? She basically asked him, and he could not think of any. His facial expression says it all. Even nicotine he talked about, but did not definitively say that it's no good.
Because this is a room full of overachievers when it comes to wellness, I think it's important to tell folks not simply what to do, but what not to do. So can we do a quick myth-busting session? What are the supplements or well-being practices that you think don't have sufficient evidence behind them, like they're unsubstantiated, that you think are really
that do nots?
That do not.
Yeah, so here's what I'll do. I'll answer your question very directly. I'm not going to try and wiggle out of this, but I've been playing around with supplements for a very long time, since I was 16, so I have some experience there, but it's just my experience, okay? I'm going to think of some things that I think don't have ample support. But more importantly, I want to talk about a couple of things that can have very divergent results in different people. And I've seen it cause some harm, and it probably has also, but these things can be very useful. And I'm not trying to punish any brand or a particular compound. I wouldn't do that unless I really felt a need to. But here's the deal.
After I left the conference, I was very worried. Clearly, wellness is a growing movement, but it's so far removed from evidence-based medicine. What is the mass appeal? Are the wellness influencers capitalizing on or fanning the flames of the popular groundswell? What is the role of universities and institutions such as Harvard, Stanford, the Cleveland Clinic, which have traditionally been bastions of evidence-based medicine? And what is the role of government regulation? Shouldn't an outlet selling products diagnosing or treating specific conditions be regulated by the FDA? We will touch on these topics in future episodes of our wellness series. Until next time.